Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Heads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Shaun and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there, too. For those who are tuning conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Hack News. Hack News.
Radio.
Hack News. Hack News.
Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
Welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR. Very nice, BZ. Very nice, sir. It is. Jesus.
Or, for those of you who just tuned in,
it's going to be one of those nights. I can already feel it when I'm trying to get my tablet here situated and the mic's on and I'm knocking shit over. It's already bad. It's already bad, folks, here at the Sackheads Radio Show. March 28th, 2018. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, and
hey,
everywhere else
like
that you
us,
can find.
damn it.
Yeah, can you
on
like us?
Facebook.
And YouTube. Both.
Can you like on Facebook?
You can subscribe.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
YouTube.
You can subscribe on YouTube.
Right,
Can you,
on Facebook.
Can you like
Yeah,
on YouTube?
like and follow.
Can you?
Well, no, subscribe. That's like a like.
We want you. Listen, look at this earnest face.
Oh, God.
Because I'm going to look into the camera right now. You need
Know what I mean,
to
Vern?
like us on Facebook and these other things. You need to...
These other things.
You need to follow us. Subscribe on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like us on... thumbs up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like that. See? Look
Go
at the
for
video.
it. No, you're
look
nailing
at the video.
it.
Folks, look at the video.
You're
See?
nailing it so far,
it's,
BZ.
it's a video. It's an audio. It's a visual right now.
Oh, no, it most certainly is.
And what's the other thing you do on YouTube? You can
like and
you
subscribe
can
and share.
subscribe. Oh, share.
Yeah.
Share. Oh, wait. Share on Facebook. You can share on Facebook.
It's adorable. It's adorable when the lights come on.
And we have SHR. Oh, wait, no. Sackheads are on Twitter. So like us. Wait a minute. Like us. Follow us.
Let them get there, folks.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter.
It's a 2-hour show. I
know. Follow us on Twitter. Yes, follow us on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we put shit up,
this is adorable.
Immediately like it.
You know, folks,
I like it.
Everyone may not think it's a big deal, but at
like
his
it.
age, for him to actually work through that all in one sitting without any sort of medicine whatsoever.
No, I am not on meds.
I'm proud of you. I think you nailed it. Thank you for that, BZ.
I can sing just like me. We long to be close to you.
How are you, sir?
I'm face up.
Hey, you know what? It's better than being tits up.
These days and age.
Yeah, well, hey.
There's a lot to be
You're not
said
the only one. You're not the only one, sir.
About that. Because, all right. Here comes the truth. You and I had dinner tonight.
Yes, we did.
And we had dinner at a pizza place.
Yes.
And we both concluded, what a bunch of silly-ass shit is happening,
Oh.
not only in the big scheme of life, like in politics and D.C. and all the crazy shit that's stepping off in Sacramento, but I mean with our lives as well. I mean, it started, literally, it seemed to start like with 2016,
Yep.
and it just got sillier and stupider in 2017,
Yep.
and then it just got sillier and stupider in 2018, which makes you wonder about...
2019.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If I'm around for it, look.
HMOG. And to my right... I'll try that again. And to my right...
Dun, dun, dun. What?
I still love that
He's
photo.
right. He's right here. Did you need him for something? He's right here.
I still love that photo.
There he is. There he is, folks. He has laryngitis tonight, so Sackhead Clint will not be heard. But if you want to see him, he's on YouTube and Facebook. You can't mistake that nose.
No.
So he'll be there just with that shocked look on his face the entire time.
I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm going to be serious, just like the Galaxy, SIRIUS. I'm going to be serious just for a moment.
Okay.
Okay, last week when he was here, and I think you started the show, and you said, I'm not Sackheads Clint. And I said, I'm not Sackheads Clint.
Right.
And then he had the same thing on his face.
Right.
Except for the part where, did you notice he'd taken the nose off?
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell.
You could not tell.
Now, I'm being serious now. I am being serious. When he removed the nose on the plastic glasses and said that, I couldn't tell. I honestly, I could not tell.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's really ridiculous. Like, people think... You know what's funny is how many people that have seen him.
Right here, these. This is what I'm talking about, folks, when we had him last week.
I know people that have seen him and still yell at me for giving him nose shit. but it's almost like they're protecting the special kid. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, the poor guy. Give him a break.
Well, until you see him in person.
Yeah, I mean,
then you think, how can he get into an automobile and not crack the windshield from the inside? How does that happen?
He looks like Groucho Marx without rhinoplasty.
How can he enter an automobile and not get the honker, not get caught in the spokes of the wheel? How does that happen? Does he put it on the dashboard? Does he drop, because all cars come like this now, does he drop the wheel really low so it's in his lap?
If he's riding a bicycle and he looks down, does it jam the front tire and he goes over the handlebars?
You gotta wonder.
I don't know.
You gotta wonder.
There's a lot. Listen, it's a disability.
If we ever see a lot of owies on his forehead, then we'll have a pretty good idea. Oh, he was either on a motorcycle or a bicycle today.
And he does love his motorcycle.
He does.
Have you ever seen? Most people haven't seen this. It's a specially made helmet. Now, you may not remember. Maybe you do. Remember the skiing helmet in like the late '80s, early '90s? They almost look like the professional mountain bike, 10-speed bike riders. You know, the Tour de France and all that shit. Where it's flat in the front and it's got this really
it's got a big extension
back.
Out there. It looks like the alien creature in reverse.
Yeah, so that's what Clint's motorcycle helmet looks like, only in reverse.
But he did get that one custom made.
Well, he had to.
And you know what they
What
did?
choice do you have?
All they did was take that kind of helmet that you just talked about, reverse it,
and put a visor into the damn thing,
and then cut out eye holes.
Yep.
Really think about it. That's pretty simple. That's American genius right there.
They'll teach him not to be here. Hey, if you want to jump into our live chat room, it's shrmedia.com. Click on live chat broadcast. You can join in, log in. BZ is going to go through roll call here in a minute. Let us know who's in already and who needs to get their asses there. BZ, take it away.
And do you wonder why I do my damnedest to be here?
I do.
Every Wednesday,
I know.
Because I know if I'm not here, you guys are going to give me shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to hear it.
Right. Well, it's easier in person, right?
It's easier.
I have to say, for the amount of shit that we give you, which is not nearly enough, to be honest with you. I mean,
this is grand.
He's a deviant, folks. But the amount of shit that we do give you, and you keep coming back smiling, it amazes me. Because we have been brutal to you, you old son of a bitch. We have been so rough on you sometimes.
Takes a kicking and keeps on ticking.
And every day he comes through the door smiling. I don't know how the hell you do it.
I have such a damn good time here.
And a contract.
I really, and it is shameless. We have Mike in chat.
Hey, Mike.
We have KBD, Carrie Baxter Donovan in chat. And we have one viewer who is masked, and we shall not unmask them. I said that last night on my show. I had about 3 viewers who
did not want to be unmasked.
It just said 3 viewers, and I fucked that up. I said, and we're not. We unmask everyone here at the show, and I meant to say we don't unmask everyone here at the show.
We will not unmask you if you want to go in. If you want to go into the chat
if you want to
room.
be anonymous,
shrmedia.com.
You can. But partake of chat. Here's the other thing that I want to emphasize.
Give a fake name. Listen.
Oh, hell. Hey,
we're not the FBI. You can lie to us.
The more creative a name that you have that you
The
can
better
bring to the
I'll
chat
tell you
room,
what.
the more we laugh our arses off.
And some people who've had the most creative names get the most references all night. So if you want to be...
Here's a number. I can look over on my side little thing over here. We've had Harry Callahan in chat.
Yes,
we've
Dirty
had
Harry.
Peter Jennings in chat. We've
The
had
live Peter
we've
Jennings.
had Peter Jennings in hat. We've had Ron Burgundy in chat. Just a lot of great people. So make up a name. We don't care. Make it creative and come on in. The water's fine. One thing that I'm trying to emphasize to everybody though is, as you indicated, because we're live,
Yes.
and we're live on Spreaker. So if you want to, if you're balancing your checkbook or cleaning your fish tank, but you still want to listen to us and you can't watch us,
Right.
go to shrmedia.com and we're on live. Click on the button and then turn the volume up and dance,
if you look for
copulate, whatever you want to do.
If you look for Sackheads and put Sackheads and Spreaker in any Google search, we pop right up.
You can listen to us while you're doing other things.
Right.
In other words. And then we also emphasize that you can watch us if you happen to be your ass is planted somewhere. You can watch us on Facebook Live on the SHR Media channel, and you can also watch us on
the
YouTube channel. But the other thing that we'd like to emphasize is for those of you who are going over to chat on YouTube,
Yes.
we don't monitor YouTube.
And the Facebook chat.
And Facebook
Not during
chat,
the show.
We don't monitor that. Now, if you want to send us a message through that, that's fine. But we humbly beseech you to chat live, and we'd love to have everybody that's on YouTube come on over. Everybody that's on Facebook, come on over. We'd love to see you in the shrmedia.com chat room,
Please.
because that's where we are. I am simply not technologically sufficient to monitor 3 chat rooms at
No,
once.
you were not.
I am guilty.
Listen, there are sometimes, we've had conversations. We do have a lot going on this week. The world is burning as it is every week. This week it's burning a little bit hotter than usual, it seems.
Carrie says, if we want you to pay attention to us, post here, right? And I said, yes.
Yes.
Carrie,
Please.
absolutely correct.
Please post
We
that.
monitor the shrmedia.com chat
KBD,
room,
nailing it.
and that's the only one we monitor.
Nailing it,
That's my
I
point.
say.
Yep.
Nailing it. We do have a lot to get to this week. I want to start off, though.
Like nothing happened. Jesus.
I want to start off with this kind of feel-good story because it made me laugh. And honestly, I think if we I want to get a laugh out of the way early because I think it's going to be one of those nights. I really do. So let me just, yes, here it is. Lidblog.com, our good friend Jeff Donetz.
Let me go over there right now because I know what you're going to say. And we already talked about this.
Yeah. But this is from Jeff. Jeff wrote this. Obviously, you can hear Jeff every Wednesday. He was live this afternoon here on shrmedia.com. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Trey Parker and Matt Stone are the creators of South Park. They have pissed a lot of people off. A lot of people.
But for the people who don't know who they are, maybe you should tell them.
So Trey Parker and
they
Matt
lean.
Stone, not yet. We'll get there.
Okay.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the Book of Mormon, the play that was everybody protested and got mad about, right, wrong, or indifferent, they created it. South Park. South Park the movie, which if you haven't seen South Park the movie was actually a joke on themselves, which is even better. Then they did Team America World Police, and they have a couple other ones.
Did they do that?
I'm pretty sure they did that.
With Little Kim in there?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that was them.
Okay.
But they've created a lot of things. Comedy, satire. Oftentimes people have pointed them to be severe Democrats just because they've pointed at the right. They also, but they're equal opportunity insulters. Look, one of their running jokes on South Park was with one of the kids. Tom Cruise kept hiding in his closet, and he would say over and over again, "Dad, Tom Cruise is in the closet." And the whole argument was trying to get Tom Cruise to come out of the closet. It was a brilliant joke. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I laughed hysterically at it. "Dad, Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet." And the father would come up and say, "Mr. Cruise, you must come out of the closet." And it would go on and on. Absolutely hysterical. So they get this award from PAWF, which is some uber-left liberal organization. They are known as the People for the American Way Foundation. They battle. It is in their charter. They exist to combat far right-wing extremism. They've been praised by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and other leftist lunatics.
I love who gave them the award.
They're getting an award. They're getting an award for free speech. It's the Freedom Award from the Norman Lear's organization. This is to the two of them. And they said, hey, we get to pick who our presenter is, right? And they said, yes. They picked none other than our friend Larry Elder, the conservative commentator, American badass Larry Elder. So I think people were a little confused, but being a room of leftists, they probably just figured, hey, these two are just going to rip up Larry Elder, and if he's dumb enough to come, they're going to let him have it.
They're going to launch into this dummy, this right-wing libertarian piece of
who's
crap.
Stepping out and willing to...
Who's stupid enough.
He thinks he's good enough to have this fight. God damn it. He's going to lose it.
He's stupid enough to appear with these guys on the PAWF Awards.
So Mr. Elder does show up because he's a gentleman and a scholar.
Yes,
and he's
and
not afraid.
Him.
He is not afraid.
We've met him. We've both gotten our photos with him.
They present the award, and after graciously accepting, they said, hey, by the way, we're Republicans. And there was some nervous laughter in the room, and they repeated, no, seriously, we're Republicans. Trey Parker and Matt Stone came out as Republicans. Why is this shocking? Well, in this day and age, when you're a conservative in Hollywood, and these are Hollywood guys, you have a tendency to be destroyed in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It is horrible what has happened to anybody who's slightly conservative. Look, there's certain people that will always duck it. Bruce Willis will always duck it because he sells. There are some guys like that.
Well, now Bruce Willis went away for a number of years, and that's because
he was very
they
open.
They wouldn't make movies with him. He finally came back. Mm-hmm. By the way, folks, if you haven't seen it or any of the other folks,
Death Wish.
I watched Death Wish.
Oh yeah,
it was very damn good.
I heard,
really liked it.
I heard. So I always loved the original. Always loved the original with Charles Bronson. I always thought it was a great premise. Yeah, it was 70s and campy and over the top, but it was still a great movie.
And they made it perfectly applicable now.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be kind of campy and a little over the top, and I've heard great things about it. I've heard it's a lot of fun to watch.
It's violent as fuck.
My friend said...
You would expect no less.
Right. And my friend said it perfectly. He said, hey, look, it's not going to win any awards, but a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
And it was entertaining as hell.
Right. Anywho, but that's Hollywood for you. True. So... for these guys to come out at this uber leftist organization receiving a Freedom Award.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, by the way, we're Republicans. No shit. We're Republicans. I would love to have seen the room. Oh, my God.
I know. Can you imagine? It's like in that venue, whatever the hell it was. Can you imagine? It's like, everybody's laughing. And then there's just, you can hear the crickets. Free deed, free deed, free deed. You're a pretty because at first everybody, I'm sure, was thinking, "Oh, bullshit," and they're laughing and laughing.
Right, and that's exactly what it was. And then no, really, we're Republicans. Now, it takes a lot of balls too. So not only have they always been in everybody's faces, and they haven't really shied about who they were, but they've never let their politics go. By the way, they're originally from Canada. And they are American citizens now, I believe. But that, like I said, if you ever saw South Park the movie, it is an exact parody of their existence in the world. That they came out with this movie that offended everybody, and the gates of hell opened, and Saddam Hussein and Satan had a homosexual relationship. It really summed up their whole existence. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh my God. So it is. Do not watch it with anyone under the age of like 30.
But I'd like to,
because it would be offensive. However, throw your politics to the side and just sit. If you want to go mindless and laugh at stupid shit, it's a really funny movie. Inappropriate as all hell, absolutely. Funny as hell, absolutely. But kudos to them for pulling it off because, like I said, in this day and age, not too many guys can do that and exist.
No. And so, what did we say after you told me about that story?
You said, wouldn't it be funny if in a week they came out and said, no, we're just kidding. We're Democrats, but we wanted to see how everyone would react. And people are losing their shit.
And that's true. That's true. People are going crazy over these guys. So then I theorized, I said, okay, well, what if they really are leftists? What if they really are registered Democrats? Mm-hmm. And all they wanted to do is pull pull the chain of every Democrat and leftist out there. Let them prove what fucktards they are. Let that go on for a week or two and then say, by the way, we lied. We really are Democrats. We really are leftists.
Right. Even so I'd give him credit for that still. Because just coming out and pointing out the hypocrisy of the left as being a leftist
still be funny as hell.
Almost takes bigger balls.
Yeah, it does.
Because you're now going to alienate the same people that you have a tendency to side with intentionally. And these people are animals. You've seen how they work.
Would you? Okay, I have to ask you a semi-serious question.
Okay.
Would you put it past those two guys to do that?
No, I wouldn't put anything past them.
I wouldn't.
Look, I'll believe they're Republicans, and here's why. They definitely utilize and understand the freedom of speech with satire. They love it. Their comedy, they get to be as goofy as they want and say some crazy shit, but they fight hard for First Amendment rights, and they have for a long time. That alone, and the correct First Amendment, or how a First Amendment should be applied, they do it well, and they're intelligent. And they've spent a lot of time and money out of their own pocket fighting to retain First Amendment rights and pushing for the First Amendment. Now, we can all argue whether or not we like their shows or they should be, but look, they're on a network that's on cable. It's on late at night. There's a million warnings before you watch their show. All good shit. So I'm just saying, even if they do come out as leftists, I give them a lot of credit because they slam everyone in their show, and they do it equally. And if you've ever watched, they'll go after anyone, and they don't care. That being said, they know they have the right to do that. And look, I've said on this show time and again, look at Sackheads. You want to talk about satire being an important part of the First Amendment. You look at this show and the amount of satire and humor that we use to prove our political points, but we use them because they make us laugh, they make our listeners laugh, and that's just our personalities. That's just how we are. And we say some pretty offbeat, and look, especially when he's in the room, we've had some amazingly rated NC-17 borderline X conversations. What was it, 2 weeks ago? He was talking about me masturbating as a teen. I mean, nothing's really that far off. So when you talk about guys like Trey Parker, Matt
was
Stone,
it false, though? Was it fake, though? That's what you always have to ask.
Yeah, but if it's satire, it's satire. So even if they do come out as these huge uber leftists in a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever, the simple fact of the matter is they're at least doing it right.
And they're not going to change, and I wouldn't expect them to.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want them
I wouldn't either.
to.
Look, it's also capitalism, right? So we talk about like more raunchy shows and stuff like that. It is capitalism. Look, if you're on the right, you have to believe in capitalism. They sell on a network that is predominantly liberal, the Comedy Central. They pick a spot that's at night, and they still go out of their way to push the envelope on cable at night, and they do a damn good job. But it's capitalism because it sells. People sell advertisement because of their show.
Yes, but it's just as you pointed out as well. They're an equal opportunity offender, both sides. Equally. Okay, I'm going to throw this out here too. Perhaps because they're from Canada, and Canada does not have a First Amendment.
They're more aware of it than anyone else.
I'm suggesting that perhaps that is why they value the First Amendment as well. As an aside, I'd like to say hello to Mike in chat. Simone is in chat. Carrie Baxter Donovan is in chat.
KBD, Simone.
And Dave Milner, the unpleasant blind guy who isn't. I mean, he is blind, yes, but he's not unpleasant. And so welcome to everybody in chat. Great to see you.
And he is blind. I keep telling people that. When we say he's not, it's the pleasant part of it. He's a very, very pleasant man. He's very outspoken. He's very honest. He's very well thought out, but he's very pleasant.
Even in chat, the people in chat are kicking his cane out from underneath him.
It's horrible. You know, I don't know when this is going to end.
How sad is that?
Have you ever seen his TV?
His show?
Wall projector. No. It's a wall projector. He sits 3 inches from it, the poor guy, and they're kicking his cane out.
Well, the projector and, those square things that you hold?
Yes.
That they're about, like an inch thick.
Right.
And he's using that about 3 inches from the...
He has 3 of them taped together, too.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But
it's cheaper that way because you can't get the other ones. And so, again, that's American ingenuity at
its
work.
finest. And
so
here-
our compliments, our hats are off to you, Dave.
And, of course, you can hear the Unpleasant Blind Guy right here on the SHR Media Network, and it is an honor for us to have him. And Dave is – I know David. He's sitting at home right now laughing his ass off because we're making fun of him. He's probably going to fire a few back.
Ooh, Simone in chat says Dave is not as blind as all those young Tide Pod eaters. Ow. Ow. Millennials, ow.
Simone is 100% right as well. And you can – like I said, you can catch Dave right here on shrmedia.com. Great show. If you haven't listened to the Unpleasant Blind Guy, catch the podcast, download it, listen to it. It's a great listen. And Dave does a good job. Hey, while we're talking house a little bit, I know we're going to go to a break here in a couple minutes. I want to send our best out to Jersey Joe, Reaver Common Sense.
Yep.
Jersey Joe's on hiatus. He made the decision this week. Has some personal things he has to attend to and take care of without going into his business because it's not my business to get into. We wish him well. He is always welcome back here. Contrary to what everybody say about me being a monster with some of our shows, only BZ and Joe most of the time. In this regard.
Well, and some of those things cannot be abrogated from my contract. I showed,
not my
folks,
fault.
if you remember last week, I have a copy over here. I showed everyone the copy of my 18-page shameless contract.
You signed it, dumbass.
So you know I do, in fact, have a contract. But the good part is this. I sent a message to Jersey Joe today, and I said, hey, would you like to come back every now and then? And I'm offering you an opportunity on my show.
Yes.
So just to let everybody know.
He's not going away.
No,
Joe won't go away. He can't stay away.
No. So he's going to be on my show next Thursday. So if you want to listen to Joe, tune in to the Bloviating Zeppelins, Berserk, Popcats, and Loon radio show next Thursday.
Shameless plugs.
And Joe will be there.
And by
I'm
the
gonna
way,
talk to Joe, and it'll be great.
Speaking of shameless plugs, one of the things Joe is doing in the meantime is he's got some pretty amazing woodwork going.
Oh, he's great.
And if you look up Reaver Common Sense or Joseph Antrobus on Facebook, he has some of it displayed, and he is selling it. And I don't usually give free plugs on a regular basis, but there's some really nice stuff there, and I want you to give it a shot if you want a nice wooden gift for somebody, handmade, handcrafted. It's really nice.
I think you're going to have to look and see, but I think his website is reaver1.com.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Yes, Reaver, yeah.
Or
Reaver.1.
Reaver.1.
Right,
okay.
Reaver.1.
Anyway, Simone says, BZ, your contract is on the web. the dark web.
The very darkest web. Down deep, down low. But in all honesty, we wish Jersey Joe best because we love Joe. Joe's been a very good friend of mine for years. He will continue to be a friend of mine and the show and the network. And if he can get back to a place where he's able to do the show, he knows he's always welcome back here. And it's an honor and a privilege. And like I said, we love him. We love him to death. He's a great guy. He works so hard for us. Oh, yeah. And he worked so hard for us for years. And he's got a beautiful family who we love and adore. And we wish him and them very, very well. And, obviously he'll probably make some stop-ins to the different shows on the network because Joe can't stay away. Let's see. Before we go to break, you know what? BZ, I'm going to make an executive decision. We're going to go to break early.
Okay, why not?
And when we come back, let's talk the omnibus bill and get it out of the way.
Okay.
Because I think that's going to be a lot. I know it was a while ago. People are still pissed. And
that's a little different from the Gillig bus.
Yes.
Or the AMC bus.
Or the GMC bus.
Or the GMC bus.
Right.
The old 60s fishbowl GM bus.
Yeah.
Those were great buses.
They absolutely were. You know what's funny is they used to call those the GMC New Look buses.
Yeah,
and they also had, because they had that, they had the fishbowl look with two sets of panes of glass in the front, one slanted down, one slanted up, and they came out in an angle.
They kind of looked like a guy with two huge eyes wearing bifocals.
Yes, and they also made almost exclusively for Greyhound. Well, that's where it started off, was the 4104, 4906, and a couple other buses that if you saw it, you'd be like, oh shit, that's what that is. And ask me why I know that. I don't know.
Why do you know that?
It's more knowledge. I wish I could replace it with something useful. But I can't. It's just stuck up in there, God damn it.
That's what I say. Look, get out. There's only room enough in here for one.
We're up against a break. When we come back, we'll step right into the omnibus bill and more right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Shaun from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reverb Common Sense, and you're listening to SHRmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for what happened there? For joining us this evening. Omnibus, BZ. Omnibus.
There's a bunch of buses. The omnibus is many buses. The omnibus bill. I'm just going to throw this out here for consideration for everyone. What if, in a strange land, the omnibus bill was signed by current President Trump? And what if, in a strange land, we already know that I think in that bill, $1.7 billion was specifically earmarked for the wall. We know that the wall is going to cost, I think the estimates range from $19 to $22 billion for the wall. And what if, because the omnibus bill is a bill, and the omnibus bill is not an actual budget,
right?
What if someone got crafty? What if someone decided, never having really been here in D.C. before, what if I decide to rob from Peter to pay Paul? And then a lot of people would say, stop. You can't do that because we've never done it before, and it's illegal.
My favorite part is the "we've never done it before" part of that.
I know it's terrible. What if? I'm just throwing it out there.
I say it all the time. This is exactly what people don't get about the president is He doesn't care about never having been done before. And if anybody's watched him whatsoever, he doesn't give a shit. He's going to do it. And if it gets done what he needs to get done, he's going to do it.
What if? I'm just throwing it out there to see if it sticks.
Look, that's a shitload of money for the military.
Yeah,
and part of that is protecting the homeland.
What if he decides that he's going to winkle some numbers around just a little bit and decide that, okay, now I'm going to earmark, because we all know that money that's supposed to go, especially in the fucking state of California, money that's earmarked for A ends up miraculously in the general fund,
Right.
and then the rest of the politicians come in for a raid. It's like a piranha feeding frenzy. So what if the guy with the dead orange cat on his head decides that he's going to say, I'll take one from column A, one from column B, and with that, I will use it to continuously fund the border wall.
Yeah. And look.
No!
Yeah.
What if?
And here's the best part is Democrats said when this was passed, you better not use this for the border. Ever. Blah, 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 blah. Here's the amazing part. And this is why I think that they're more complicit in this than anybody says for. I think there was some backroom meeting, and word got to them of, hey, you passed this, and you have deniability for the next election. Hey, you know what? We told him you could have this bill, but don't use it to build the wall. Because if you're a gambling man, and I'm pretty sure Trump owns casinos, if you're a gambling man, you're gambling having that political firebomb potentially over the next election, or achieving a goal that everybody in this country voted you into office for, and start work on it. So if you're a gambling man, you're going to play odds. Well, odds are you won once. Talking about the border. And now, if you're using money to fund that border wall, especially kind of you money, because you're sticking it to Washington elite, and you're doing what you said you were going to do, I don't think the firebombs for the next election really matter as much as achieving. Well, and he would be achieving.
Here's the other question that you have to ask yourself, and I understand where Dave's coming from. Dave says it's also a shitload of dead babies. Now, what Dave means is that Trump did not take or somehow didn't manage to line item veto, because you can't really do that yet.
Right.
But didn't remove or wasn't able to remove. And I wouldn't throw it on Trump, okay, because Trump didn't craft that budget. The GOP did.
Yeah.
So let's open our perspective just a little bit wider than just Donald John Trump. But I'm wondering on not just this, but perhaps other instances, who's playing long ball here? Mm-hmm. And how is long ball being played? It's not even 2 years in the current Trump administration.
And you look at Democrats, and they all play short ball. They all play a short field, and it's right now. What can I do? What can I do? Look at their protests. It's right now. What can I do? There's no long game involved in it. So now it brings you back to that question: what if this is part of a long game? Look. I would venture a guess to say 90% of people center-right are not happy about the money that goes to Planned Parenthood. I am part of that group, and we've talked about this before on the show.
Well, we've also talked about how many trillions of dollars this just added
to the budget,
to the deficit.
Right. Look, I mean, you're talking about Planned Parenthood, who came out this week with the tweet saying, what we need is a Disney princess that's had an abortion.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And something else. I forget what the other, a transgender Disney princess. And government money funds that. Don't get me wrong. That pisses me off.
Well, and NPR is still funded.
Yep, NPR still is. PBS still is.
And NPR makes money.
Yeah.
And they're funded.
Yeah, and it's not a nonprofit. And so doesn't Planned Parenthood. They make money. You look at what they pay their board and their executives and their so-called doctors and nurses, whatever. They make a lot of money. There may not be a CEO at the top collecting that money, but the people who run it collect that money. It's a for-profit. It's just listed as a not-for-profit. The people at the top of that make all the coin, just like a lot of the nonprofit organizations in this world. It's an evil organization. It's a horrible organization. Look, it was developed by Margaret Sanger. She believed in sterilization of African Americans.
Eugenics.
To limit their population. That's why it was started. What it's turned into today is third chance birth control, so to speak. And it's a horrible thing. And I understand that. And I agree.
I'll tell everyone, and then I'll throw it over to you, and because I want your opinion on this, too. Trust me, I'll throw it over to you. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton because I voted for Donald Trump, and I voted for him because after, 16, 17, 20 prospects on the GOP side, he won.
Right.
Now, I literally have a binary choice. I can vote for Hillary, or I could waste my vote on the Green Party or the Poop Shoot Party or the Take It Up the Arse with a white hot piece of rebar party.
Any one of the above parties.
Any number of parties like that. Or I can not vote for Hillary.
I don't know if I'd call those parties.
And I could vote for Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, which is what I did, kind of kicking and screaming and doing it. And yet, many of the things that he said,
he's done.
On which he was running,
he's done.
On which he predicated his platform,
he's
already pulled off. Neil Gorsuch, one of the finest choices that I could ever say.
Agreed.
You rule SCOTUS and you rule education and you control this nation. Leftists already realize that. We already are cognizant of the fact that Justice Kennedy, the rumor is that he'll be stepping down from the bench
this summer.
This summer sometimes. That's two. Well, if you think the leftists fought with regard to Gorsuch,
wait till you see the next one.
Wait until you see this summer. And because he's still going to be president, leftists, I'm sorry to say this, start your crying now. He's going to be here until 2020.
You mean continue your crying?
Yeah, continue your crying right now. He's going to be here until 2020, and he may get a third chance at a SCOTUS nomination.
Yeah. He may get a total of 3. I believe that. Look, I know what Ruth Bader Ginsburg Gator.
I know what you may see as Gator.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg says, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't see her making 2020. I just don't see it happening. I really don't.
Listen, at the end of each day, they put her in a big vat of bubbling blue replenishment. As it circulates all through her veins and whatnot. They've got her hooked up to so many lines and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Just so that she can come through for a new and fresh day.
Yes. It's going to be amazing. So anyhow, you go back to Omnibus and you go back to what's perfect about it, what's not perfect about it. Here's the other thing. When was the last time you saw a perfect bill?
Well, there is
no
such animal.
Look, you want to talk about Planned Parenthood? All right, let's talk about the southern border wall. If you build that southern border wall, you take a large percentage of Planned Parenthood users out, and there's less people using it.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm not saying that that's the perfect answer, but that's one way of looking at it.
No, but
I know people are pissed about this, and I understand why. I was pissed he signed it.
Here's why I believe there's such a massive furor over the wall.
Yes.
Because it's like California's train to nowhere. And I'll make that analysis in just a moment. Once you put up a border wall, once you've spent, I don't know, X number of $1 billion for the border wall, it's like federal entitlements. You can't take them down.
No.
You cannot eliminate them.
Once it's
and
there.
And so that's why leftists realize this is the fight. This is the line in the sand. This is where we must stand. If that border wall goes up, it will be effective. It will not stop everyone.
Nope. And we never expected
to.
And
you didn't expect it to.
Right.
But it's going to stop so many that it will have an amount of efficacy. Once it does that, and especially, everybody has their thing that they want to see everybody do. My thing is E-Verify. It has to start at the business level.
Absolutely.
Once Mexicans, anyone coming into this country for free cheese, my free cheese, your free cheese, your free cheese out in free cheese land, once you stem that tide, then the reasoning for everyone to come flooding across the border it dies. It goes away.
It
If
does.
you can't get free shit and you can't get money, what's the point? Stay in your own country.
Well, and look, there's also the terrorism aspect of this too. And as you saw, I mean, you go on and on and on. Look at what happened right down here it happened last week or last Thursday while you were on the air. Travis Air Force Base right down here in Vacaville.
Oh, yeah. The
Fairfield, California.
Car crashed into the gate.
Full of propane, gasoline, lit on fire.
It lit up. It didn't explode.
Yep.
And then at first people were going, I wonder if it's terrorism.
No, probably not terrorism. It didn't make it anywhere. Had you seen it before I sent it to you that night?
No. If it weren't for you doing that, and I mentioned it on the air, but initially I had trouble finding it, but if you hadn't mentioned that, it went almost nowhere.
Yes. I didn't see it anywhere.
And then the funny thing was, it was a Muslim.
And
imagine that.
Not only did I not see anything anywhere, but the government put out pretty quickly it was being investigated for terror. So it wasn't even like it was like a suicide thing. They put out fairly quickly that they were looking at this guy for terror.
Yeah, and they didn't say, nobody said, we think maybe he was a drunk driver.
Right. He got lost.
No, they went right to the T word.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the media, you could hear the toilets flushing in the media
They
production
did not
rooms
want to
all
do it.
around the land. No, we're not going to cover that shit.
Nope. And they hit it. And it made, I put it out on Facebook. It was page 3, page 4 for terrorism. Now, is that to say the wall would have stopped that guy specifically? The answer is no. He was here on a visa legally. I think he was a citizen. But that's not the point.
That's not the point.
The point is we know through intelligence from the Obama administration that terrorists will use the southern border wall to cross, and they actually will make themselves look Mexican.
I will posit this. I'm going to get told to go to hell, but hey, that happens all the time on my email. I dare many people, absent any kind of vocalization, to look at many Mexicans and many Middle Easterners. I dare you to tell them apart.
Look, it's like looking at a guy from England and a guy from Ireland. You're not always going to be able to tell them apart.
GFO with that.
Yeah, it's just part of reality.
You want to hear an ironic story? This was, again, underreported by the media. And I wish, maybe I'll play it tomorrow night if I can find the audio of it. But it was this. Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on top of his head, goes down to San Diego to the border agents, and one border agent tells Trump a story, and it's like this. Back in 98 or 2000, right around there, they had, by the way, if you don't know, folks, there's no wall in San Diego, in that sector right around there. There's no real wall. There's a fence and one of those metal fences, and there's a ass load of openings and cuttings and whatnot, cyclone fences, a couple of those. But this one guy went over to a military area and got some scrap metal. Literally, he said it was scrap metal. Then they showed a picture of it. It's a piece of scrap metal, maybe 6 feet by 10 feet or something like that. And he said, once we put up this piece of scrap metal, we found out that our incidence of people coming through in this area
dropped
down by 90%.
Isn't that crazy?
90%.
Isn't that crazy?
Because of a $14.95 piece of scrap metal.
Right, but it was something.
Fuck them
it was
for
a deterrent.
daring to tell that story.
And look, we talk about...
Are you kidding me?
When we talk about the wall and we talk about fences, I invite you, I want to say it was National Geographic, but it's on YouTube, right down to the San Diego border, where Tijuana and San Diego pretty much abut, right? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, Tijuana is right on the border.
So they have this show that shows border crossings. And one of the things that they would show is like a 15-year-old kid run down the gully, run up the other side of the fence, hop the fence, get over, go into San Diego, do a couple things, come back 45 minutes later, hop the fence again, go back the other way. And he's doing this all day long. It's his job. But because it's a regular chain link fence, the kid's hopping it like it's nobody's business. You need to be serious about the border. And if the money from Omnibus can fund that, I understand there's some shit that's south with it, but that's something that if he can utilize that, it ends up being a victory for what he says he's going to do on immigration. Yeah, you know what? Who knows with him? He may sign an executive order 6 months down the line closing Parenthood. You don't know. But his biggest thing's the border wall. That's the thing that he's been focusing on. It's the thing he's been harping on. And now you have Omnibus, which he said he was close to vetoing. That there were some things in there that almost didn't make it worth signing. But he signed it. Here's the other thing when I talk about Trump that I keep telling people, and I know they don't like to hear this. When's he been wrong on any of the big issues? When has he been wrong? Look at the guy claimed he was being tapped. Come to find out he was tapped. A lot of shit that he said, come to find out it's true. People are still, he's just, they can't control themselves. I'm not saying it was a perfect decision, but at some point you have to give a little bit of credence into, maybe he does know what the hell he's doing. Because, even with the Twitter rants and all the other shit when you talk about this president, I'm not always a fan of some of the things that he puts out on Twitter, but I'm a fan of the fact that he uses it. And I'm a fan of the fact of how he uses it. He gets his side of the story out because he knows mainstream media won't cover it. They'll cover him on Twitter because they hate it, but they won't cover his side of a story. So he puts it out himself, and it drives them batshit crazy. And I think he puts out stuff just to piss them off and focus on that one tweet for a week. And he wins.
Yes, I believe you. B, he also pisses those the American media maggots off because he starts the issue.
Yes.
They don't start the issue. They're not the instigators of, the tweet of the day or the issue of the day. He sets the agenda. He sets the tone and style for each and every damn day. All they're doing is reacting. They can't create as much anymore.
And honestly, once he started a fight, he couldn't finish. He starts those things because he knows he has something. Look, like I go back to the wiretapping, and I will go back to the wiretapping.
They're so gullible.
For you to come out, even as the sitting president, and say, hey, the former administration was tapping me, even through the process of me transitioning into the current administration, as the president-elect, I was being tapped. Right up to the day that I was put in, there were forces working behind the scenes to keep me out of office. And everyone went, that's bullshit. This guy's out of his mind. He's crazy. He named Obama. How dare he? This is horrible. What evidence does he have? Oh, wait, the FISA court memo. Oh, shit. All the text messages between the two FBI agents.
Listen, we've got 1, 2... stories coming up, 3
but he's been right,
stories that are pointing towards he's right.
Yeah, that's the part.
And the shit that he said is
right
going to become investigated.
Yes.
We've got those stories, folks, coming. Tonight. Yes.
So when I go back to the omnibus bill, look, I believe in transparency in government, but if you're going to drain the swamp, you're going to make them look like assholes. So now, if they give Trump this budget and he signs it and then starts building the border wall, there was a lot of Democratic support into this bill. A lot of Democratic support. Guess what he can turn around and do, and Republicans can turn around and do? Hey, you know what? They passed the budget that built the wall. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all those people. They passed the budget that built the wall. Go thank them.
Let me throw this out there, too. And the Democrats are purposely not talking about this. I'm asking you, Shaun.
Yes.
In this past omnibus bill, not a budget, but an omnibus
bill,
what did the Democrats do for the Dreamers?
Nothing.
Maybe that's why they're not saying anything about that?
Nothing at all. By the way, I love the fact
how that works out.
People in this country now, as criminal aliens, are called Dreamers, and people who own guns protected by the Second Amendment citizens are called criminals. I just want people to look at that irony that the left throws out there right now.
Yeah. You want proof, by the way, that a wall works. Even New York media said this. When charges of racism and xenophobia fail, Democrats' fallback argument against President Trump's proposed border wall is that it simply won't work, right? So why waste billions of dollars building it? Tell that to the residents of El Paso, Texas. Federal data show a far less imposing wall than the one Trump envisions. A 2-story corrugated metal fence first erected under the Bush administration already has dramatically curtailed both illegal border crossings and crime in Texas's 6th largest city, El Paso, which borders the high-crime Mexican city of Juarez.
So let me ask you this. If you're trying to save money down the line, and you have, say, a couple 100-mile stretch that, because it's wide open, costs you a shitload of money to enforce on a regular basis, and then you look at a town like El Paso, who has to police and come up with the budget that comes federally, you look at all those border towns that have to deal with this, San Diego as well, and you're trying to kill the budget further down the line a little bit. Well, if you have less crimes and you get it under control, wouldn't you say that long term that will save a lot of money for those cities, the country, the states? A lot of money. A lot of money.
In truth, yes.
Yeah.
In actuality, you have to remember that we're 2 miles from the belly of the beast, the Bill Mill,
I know.
right over there.
I know.
We are broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. I say
every day.
On a bad night, on a good night, you can Sacramento is the locus of evil for the entire left coast. It truly is. And Shaun already knows this. On a particular night when you're getting westerly winds, you can literally this studio, I mean,
Pig farm.
The smell of sulfur permeates.
Yes.
And that's all coming from the Bill Mill. So what I'm saying is California, they wouldn't give a crap about that. They'd gladly spend all the money that it takes to make sure that the wall doesn't go up.
Right. They'll spend more money to protect the wall from going up than they will to actually build the goddamn wall.
Hell yes. Because
but that's California
That's
for
California.
it.
That's
absolutely. True. Look, we're talking about Bucamendez there, the guy who's sentenced to death for killing Danny Oliver and
Bustamante.
Bustamante. Thank you. And I was in one of the chat rooms and they were saying, "Oh God, they put this guy to death." Thank God. I said, "Yeah, but it's in California. Look,
they've got over 175 people on death row.
He's going to die in prison.
The last person we killed is 2006.
Yep, he's going. I'll tell you right now, I didn't live here when the last person was put to death in California.
He won't be put to death.
He will never be put to death, not in the state unless something dramatically changes.
Nope.
Now, if it was the 51st state that all took place in, different story. But, and I said, yeah, California technically has a death penalty. It's never going to apply because it's California. Look, this guy's a fucking folk hero for killing 2 cops.
Oh, wherever he goes in California,
he will be a folk hero.
In the state prisons,
he
will be heralded.
Yep.
He'll get anything he wants.
Yep.
He'll be big man on any prison
because
he goes to.
Because the state allows that as well. They allow that. Instead of turning people like him into an example of what not to do and go to prison, they just let shit happen now in prison in California, and guys like that will be a hero as he's walking through. Instead of putting him in a pink jumpsuit and belly chains and making him shuffle around and work until he dies.
Well, that sheriff is long gone. That county, by the way, is long gone because they've got a leftist in there because it's primarily demographics are demography is prophecy.
Yep, 100%. And the prophecy is rich here in California. It's not right, but it's rich. Look, they own it all, and that's the way it's going to be.
Quite true.
That is also why I always say that the rest of the states shall not go the way California does, because I think even some of the craziest states out there, including my home state of Massachusetts, I think they look at what California does and they're like, yeah, we can't push it that far because they're falling apart. They're falling apart at the seams, and it is. I say it all the time. California is the liberal petri dish for the rest of the liberals in this country.
Leftists tell me all the time. They tell me all the time, California is operating a $2 billion surplus.
We're going to break.
Listen, I'm telling you, I get emails, bz@shrmedia.com if you want, just fewer S and F words if you can, please. I got emails all the time saying, hey, California's operating on a surplus.
We're going to break. We'll be right back here on the Sackheads Radio Show. I'm not sticking around for this bullshit. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Good evening. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is featured on the SHR Media Network every Tuesday and Thursday night for 2 hours at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. Whilst manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ continues to radically change the world of leftists, one diaper at a time. Stop balancing your checkbooks. Stop cleaning your fish tanks. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is your magnet for truth, justice, obesity, a darkened studio, and late-night freedom. No United States of America freedoms were abridged in the making of this ad.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians, a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless, hope to the hopeless, clues to the clueless. Sackheads Shaun, Sackheads Clint, and Sackheads BZ. The Sackheads Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern on shrmedia.com. Watch on YouTube, Facebook, and the High Plains Pundit Network. The best in late-night conservative talk, the Sackheads Radio Show, only on the SHR Media Network.
Go ahead, I'll say it.
Some of the best A-roll is going to be B-roll.
Like, what are you talking about? You just
the last question that you cut a couple seconds.
Yeah, I'm a freaking artist. I can't just come up with this shit off the top of my head. Are you freaking kidding me right now?
Hey, good point. Exactly right. Oh, God.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Sam on SHR Media. You can listen to my new show starting on Tuesdays in January. Get my perspective on national politics, a conservative's perspective on California politics, the latest in the war on terror, all of that and a lot more here on Tuesdays at SHR Media. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Sam_SHR Media.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint, and I'm with Sackhead Shaun, Sackhead BZ. No communists allowed on the SHR Media Network.
Damn straight, mister.
Back to the show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. It is March the 28th, 2018. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, somebody posed a conundrum, a riddle, if you will.
A widow?
Earlier today, this person who is a friend of the show holds an elected position. So I don't want to say too much more.
Really? Oh, okay.
But
good. Whoever you are, thank you for listening.
Brought up a really good point. California legalized marijuana, correct?
Oh, I think I know where you're going to go already. But yes, that is correct.
You look at last year, what did Hawaii do with marijuana users?
Now that I don't know.
They said, hey, if you have a marijuana use card, you have to turn in your firearms.
Really?
Yes. So my initial thought was, well, it counts as alcohol in the state now. Like, I know they're going to use it. Look, I've said this before. California, if you're on Medi-Cal, Medicaid, any of this other stuff, if you've ever been treated for depression, any of that stuff, it will eventually come back to bite you in the ass if you're a firearm owner, because they're going to use that as a reason to pull it. This person brought marijuana into this and said, yeah, but, because I said, well, because it's like, oh, no. In marijuana in California, if you go into a store and purchase it, they're going to swipe your license. They swipe your license, all of your information is stored and saved into data because you're buying marijuana. They've now created a database of marijuana purchasers and users. Now, they know, and we've already seen it, they know they'll never repeal the Second Amendment, no matter what Stevens says. The 2A will never be appealed. So what are they going after this week? Bullets. They've already started the bullet train, which in California we all know goes nowhere. But what if they're going to use that as a step? Like, hey, you know what? Everyone in this country, or everyone in the state who's running to buy pot, ooh, yeah, because you're a narcotics user, it treats depression or whatever. You're not, which I'm not okay with. Look, I'm not psyched that the state's selling pot. I don't think that's all that great. But I also don't think that should necessarily disqualify somebody from their Second Amendment rights. We've had this discussion before on this show. Especially now, if the state looks at it like alcohol, essentially, then if you can have alcohol in a weapon in your home, not at the same time, then why can't you have marijuana? And why? As of right now, the way the state views it, no matter what my personal belief is, how the state views it, it is completely acceptable. It is the same as alcohol.
Let me tell you a bit of inside baseball about the cannabis program in the state of California. It's off the fucking rails. And the reason is California had roughly 2 years in advance knowing this was coming in order to prepare everything. Some citations, some licenses, by the way, and there are a number of licenses. You can't just waltz into your neighborhood state store and say, hey, I want a license for dope, and I'm going to sell it. So what is that, like $50, $100? Give me 2 licenses. They're damn cheap.
Right.
No, they can go up to about $75,000 plus.
Easy.
That's just one of the licenses. Then you have to have a license to weigh it. You have to have a license for the scales.
Put it this way, it's like selling gasoline.
In the city, you have to have a license in the county. You have to have a license for the state. And
your scales have to get checked every year or every couple months by the county.
DMS, the Department of Weight, DWS, the Departments of Weights
and certain measures.
And measures.
Yep.
Or whatever the hell that is.
And county has their own on top of that.
They sure as hell do.
Oh, yes. Everyone's getting a piece of the pie.
So because everyone wants to cut a fat hog over dope. And they want to tax it, of course. So, gosh, now with all that, knowing all that, what do you think the growers of dope are doing? Well, that's right. They're still growing illicit dope.
Of course
and
they
are. Falling all over themselves to register?
No.
Not really. Did you happen to hear the state of California is running out of lawful dope? Oh, no, Mr. Bill. No lawful dope for sale. It's because they had 2 fucking years to see this coming, did nothing about it, and now no lawful dope. What's a doper to do? I know. Do what I customarily used to do about a year and a half ago.
Buy it off the street.
I know my local dope seller. I'll go back to him.
And all the plants that they destroyed over the last couple of years, I bet you the state wishes they still had those on hand, huh? You turn around and sell those to the distributors again and make a little extra coin.
And guess what banks are doing?
Not giving loans for weed.
Yeah, because why?
FinCEN.
Dope is still illegal on the federal level.
Yes.
And banks don't really know, just like Obamacare and all the uncertainty that revolved around Obamacare. Banks are saying, Well, we don't know if the state is going to come back and say, fuck you, banks. And we don't know if the feds are going to come back and say, fuck you, banks.
Oh, the feds will. Here's why.
So-
FinCEN, if you don't know what FinCEN is, look it up. It's run by the IRS, and they essentially do all financial crimes. It's FinCEN. But they have a very explicit set of rules for banks. They oversee everything that's considered a bank, including casinos and a whole bunch of other places. They're very, very stringent on the fact that because marijuana is not... Now, it doesn't matter if it's your local Joe's Savings and Trust, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever. FinCEN controls what a lot of they can do legally and illegally. And if they step outside the guidelines, they get hit with these enormous fines. It's to regulate banking. It's to stop fraud. It's to stop terrorism. We can talk about whether or not it should exist, doesn't exist, whatever it exists, we currently deal with it. FinCEN has been very explicit about the fact that it says, we're not going to let you fund...
Wait, Shaun, no, that
we're not going to let
can't
you fund
be.
drugs.
Now, California said that they're going to have all sorts of lawful dope for all the lawful dope smokers
Right, but they
around
don't have
here.
any banks that are going to process it.
Well, then who are they going to go to for cash, Shaun? Who are these needy people going to go to for
The state of
cash?
California?
Right.
Mhm.
Will they?
Small business? State of California, small business loans.
You mean Gene Washington down on the corner who's been financing all the other dope deals?
Yes.
And Juan Martinez on the other corner who's been financing all those other dope deals.
Throw a white guy in there, would you?
Yeah, okay. And John Doe, but he spells his name different.
Marty McPaleface.
D-O-U-G-H. Marty McZitface. Marty McCrankface. That's it. Marty McCrankface. And
Toothless
they've been getting
McGee.
money from him as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And then you want to hear something even weirder? Yes, you do. Come on,
if
say
it,
yes.
If it involves a raccoon, no, go ahead. I didn't know where you were going. I wanted to be sure.
Some of the cities and counties are saying, you know what? We're pulling out a dope.
Yes. Yes. It's funny, BZ. You bring that up.
Watch, this is a visual for those people that are watching on Facebook. Oh, no!
As you bring that up, speaking of pulling out of state obligations, we talked about what city was it last week that we were talking about?
Los Alamitos.
Los Alamitos.
They started a
Alamitos.
tsunami.
They have started a tsunami. I think it was the next day or the day after, Orange County came out and said, oh, yeah, by the way, we're on board too. We don't want to be part of the sanctuary city laws.
This was glorious. This was absolutely
You now have, and folks, when we talk about federal government, states, state powers, you also have to remember inside a lot of states you have county and city and town powers that they're protected from certain things that the state does.
level of regulations, level
Absolutely.
of taxation.
And you want to talk about government working the way it should, and at least so far, you have the city of Los Alamitos. You now have Orange County who says, yeah, you know what? Sanctuary state law, yeah, we're pulling out of it. We're not going to be a part of it. It's not legal. We don't see it legal. We don't see it being a legal act. And we don't think it's right. And we're not going to go along with it and potentially put our county under scrutiny, or worse, people going to jail, if it ever amounts to that, for playing by these quote-unquote sanctuary state laws that are at least otherwise federally illegal.
SB 54 is the law that was written telling people, citizens, that they cannot they cannot reveal anything to any member of ICE, Homeland Security, DHS, etc., any information about an illegal, because now that becomes a crime. Now it's the same for law enforcement. Well, except that Sheriff Sandra Hutchins,
yes,
a female sheriff, not that it means much, except that I have to ask the rest of the 58 sheriffs, why did it take this sheriff, who apparently has more balls than the rest of you ballless individuals, why did it take her to magically just now say, oh, you know what, I think I've deigned a wonderful workaround for this, and that's exactly what it is. It's a workaround. She said, I'm going to publish publicly the time and the date of the release of everyone from all of my jails to include the people with ICE, and I'm going to also mandate that we cooperate with the feds and ICE.
What?
Stop! Then that very same day, yesterday, Xavier Becerra comes out, and let's see if I have this. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra would not rule out taking action of his own against officials who fight the laws, including the sheriff. He says, quote, "State law is state law. It's my job to enforce state law, and I will do so. We want to make sure that every jurisdiction, including Orange County, understands what state law requires of the people and the subdivisions of the state of California." When asked if that meant an arrest or lawsuit against the sheriff, now he means specifically the sheriff of Orange County?
Yes.
Becerra responded, "I think I just answered that." Folks, that was a threat.
That was a threat. You know, and it's funny, too, how the Attorney General's office, much like a lot of district attorney's office, only wants certain laws enforced, and it's the ones they pick and choose, like the Obama administration and the border and immigration. It's only the ones that they pick and choose, because it's funny how in counties like Sacramento, I bring this up all the time. BZ, you and I could be walking down the street, somebody of like age to you could cripple up the other way and punch you in the face, and the police could arrive and ID both, and you say, "I want to press charges for a battery." They take the information. They won't arrest him because they don't have any room in the jail, but they'll cite him. They'll give him a little piece of paper and says, "Hey, this is technically an arrest. You have to go to jail." At some point, it's going to get to the prosecutor's office. The prosecutor office will say, in the interest of justice, it's not worth prosecution, no matter what you say.
Well,
you can be barking at the top of your lungs that you're a victim, you want this prosecuted, you want to press charges.
That's a choice at DA intake. Here's a choice the DA intake doesn't have. Under SB 47 and SB 57, grand theft and property crimes were kicked up. It used to be the threshold for a felony was $400 in the state of California. Now it's $900 to $1,000 to make it a felony. So is it any shock at all as to why property crimes, burglaries, car burglaries, robberies have skyrocketed in the state of California?
No.
No. At all. And in the city and the county of Sacramento, crime is going up. It's gone up by roughly 40 to 30%.
Depending on which specific crime you are looking at.
And the DA has already said that there are so many crimes that are occurring in here. If you go to DA intake, like I used to work a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they'd laugh at you when you brought them certain crimes.
Mm-hmm.
10-51, stolen vehicle. You'd get about 2 hours in the penalty box after the intake guy got through laughing at your arrest.
Yeah.
Well, it's gotten even worse now.
And it will get worse. But that's how California operates. Right, where they pick and choose, and it's how liberals operate and Democrats operate by and large. They pick and choose what laws they want enforced and don't want enforced. And now they don't want laws enforced, but they want their sanctuary state law enforced. Well, folks,
here's what I wanted to see.
How can you make a law that specifically breaks another law?
Well, and despite what the 10th Amendment, or let me put it this way, despite what leftist attorney Xavier Becerra thinks that the 10th Amendment really means, isn't it odd how they want to be federalized when it's convenient, and they want to stand under the umbrella of the 10th Amendment when it's convenient?
Well, you look at Kamala Harris, who just said this week, another leftist lawyer who used to be attorney general in the state is now a senator. She said illegal aliens are not criminals.
Oh, and I responded to her.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How can you even say that?
That's the idiocy of the leftist mindset. But let me remind you, Kamala Harris is the individual when she was the DA of the state and county of San Francisco, decided that a cop killer, she was not going to prosecute that particular cop killer and go for the death penalty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because screw police.
Well, but that's what it comes down to is...
It's a crime.
Right. And the left...
It's a crime.
And they have specific laws on books for it. But the left does this with everything. They pick and choose what they think is okay and what they don't think is okay. But I know you have more out of California, and we're already 20 minutes into the segment.
But we're leading to this, because I found this story seconds before we opened up the mic here on the show. And so what I said yesterday was, really? You want to arrest the sheriff. You want to arrest, Under Sheriff Don Barnes of Orange County because he was advocating that, and you want to arrest Sheriff Sandra Hutchins, I'd like to see DOJ or CHP go down to the Orange County Sheriff's Department and go up to the 3rd floor, knock on her door, and pull out a set of handcuffs.
I would like to see them get in the building.
GFL with that. So Xavier Becerra, by the way, who isn't a good enough attorney on his own, the state of California had to import Eric Holder to represent the state of California, which is actually the Attorney General's job. But then Xavier Becerra got kicked to the curb because apparently he is insufficiently capable of representing the state of California, though that is his fucking job. And the state of California hires Eric Holder to defend the state of California against oppressive sanctuary city pushback and laws that the federal government have imposed for years on. Now, this is the same guy, Xavier Becerra, who was embarrassed like this.
He got outsourced.
He did. His fucking job got outsourced, but this story just comes out seconds before we come on the air. And this is a decision that Xavier Becerra decided he was going to make. The headline is, California says cops now can share information with DHS in an exception to the sanctuary law.
You know what that means. You know what that means. I know what that means. We all know what that means. Somebody went to.
Fucking kidding me now?
Somebody went to Xavier and said, "Oh, by the way, we've done a ton of shitload of research on this, and
by the way,
we're breaking the law by not allowing them to share this information."
What Under Sheriff Barnes and what Sheriff Hutchins said about SB 54, and they're not breaking the law by doing this and posting the information and deciding that they're going to cooperate with DHS. That's not illegal at all. You stupid little fuck.
It's amazing.
California officials, i.e. Xavier Becerra, the craven piece of shit that he is, issued new guidance Wednesday. New guidance.
Guidance. I love it.
They issued
following the laws of guidance now, only in fucking California.
Shaun, maybe it's a hint. Issued new hints. They issued new suggestions. Guidance, hint, suggestions. Wednesday, making clear state and local police can...
Innuendo.
Wait. Saying local, state, and police can and should share information about illegal immigrants with the Federal Homeland Security Department in what amounts to a major exception to the state's new sanctuary laws.
But it's not a major exception.
That's not what they said yesterday.
It's not a major exception. You're being forced to follow a law that supersedes yours because it's a direct federal issue.
Xavier Becerra said he would come to businesses personally and arrest people who cooperated with federal authorities.
Yes.
So business owners in the state of California were threatened with a physical arrest by agents of the state of California if they revealed information about persons they suspected of being illegal working in their business if they wanted to comply with federal law. So on one hand, they're breaking state law. On the other hand, they're complying with federal law. If you're a business owner, what the fuck do you do? Whose law do you decide that you're going to go? But what if you don't know about law? What if you're confused?
Right.
What if you say, on one hand, I'm breaking the law here, and if I go on this other place, I'm breaking someone else's law?
Or you call a lawyer.
Whose law do I obey?
You call a lawyer, and they're extreme leftists, and they believe, and they're like, well, you follow the state law.
You have the state law. You have to follow
the
state law.
The federal government just came in and arrested everybody and shut me down. Well, yeah, but the state didn't.
That's right. It was, your beef is with the feds, not us.
That's a victory.
We think you're a great person. We're not going to do anything for you, but we still think you're a great person.
It's a victory.
Yeah,
it's a victory.
It is a small victory.
You're just lucky to be out of state prison.
Yeah, police and sheriff's departments are still banned from asking about someone's immigration status and cannot hold illegal immigrants at the request of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But in instances where they do have information on legal status, they are required to share it, as required by federal law. The new, wait for it, guidance.
Innuendo.
It's a
suggestion.
Hint. It's a suggestion.
A nudge.
It's a nudge.
So
here,
now, but
maybe
here's
Obey that.
Here's what I worry about with the state of California, and I will say this time and again.
They'll find a way to fuck you in the back.
They will forever tell you to do one thing, and then when you do it, fuck you as hard as humanly possible. So it puts good cops and good sheriffs and good police chiefs who want to do the right thing in an even weirder place now, because you were having that fight, right? You were ready to have that fight of like the Orange County sheriff did and the undersheriff, Barnes. Hey, you know what? We're ready to have that fight with you over sanctuary state, and we think we have to do X, Y, and Z, and we're gonna fight you for it. We're gonna go to the law, because here's what it comes down to, and it literally just hit me. Orange County and Los Alamitos, what are they doing? They are opting out. Well, what happens when every county except for, I don't know,
Los Angeles,
L.A., San Francisco,
maybe
Alameda would probably opt out. There's some other ones that would stay in.
I'm not sure about Sacramento.
But you would start losing a whole bunch of support. Then what does that bring? That brings the ire of your voting setup in the state and districts under scrutiny, because now if it's like, hey, we have, how many counties does California have?
158.
Something like that, 58. Hey, we have 58 counties, but only 8 of them are choosing to abide by the sanctuary state law. What does that say to the masses? What does that say to the people?
Well, here's...
Because numbers talk to people.
Yeah, they do.
And people pick up on that shit.
Here's the Schadenfreude that I love about it all.
Schadenfreude. Frau Blucher. What huge...
God bless you. That's why I love you, mister.
What huge knockers. Oh, thank you, doctor.
We already know that leftists are pissed off in this new omnibus bill because of DACA. There wasn't support for DACA. What happens to the real, true leftists in Leftertown when they finally realize that, you know what, we're getting undermined and the people in Sacramento are not fighting back enough? And then you have leftists beginning to hate leftists because the left is now insufficiently left for the left. And if you break that sentence down, you'll understand it makes perfect sense. Now,
he would be so proud of you right now. Big Nose would be sitting here so proud of you right now because you turned that into such a clusterfuck. But you still had a valid point with it.
Despised and excoriated by the left now over DACA, and leftists in California are going to expect Sacramento to fight back tooth and nail against the pushback on the pushback from the original pushback against the federal government. Okay, and pull that sentence apart too, because you're gonna find it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you're good.
And then they're gonna hate Sacramento and leftists and politicians every bit as much as the right does.
Here's what happened. And this is my honest to God's belief. We have 2 minutes left.
This is going to be great.
The state bluffed. They passed this law. They said they were going to enforce it. They said they could enforce it, and it was legal. They bluffed. These cities and these counties and these sheriffs called their bluff.
But here's I know we got to go to a break.
But they're calling their bluff.
I know. But this is what's even best about it. This is the best part. Organizations, agencies, a city, and a county decided one day that they're going to push back on this. The very next day after pushback, Xavier Becerra caves.
Yep. Because he called his bluff. Look, the left loves to do this, right? You repeat a lie enough and it becomes truth. They did that with the sanctuary state. Look, anyone who looked at sanctuary states that has any sort of minimal law and legal understanding said that you can't do this. You cannot do this. The state goes, oh, no,
yes,
we can do it.
We're the state.
And Attorney General Abby something was like, I'm so good at this. I know what I'm talking about. Who cares if they had to get Eric Holder to come in and fight cases for me? I know what I'm saying, and this is fine. And you will all abide by this. And then you had 2 municipalities go, yeah, no, we won't. No. And he's like, yeah, we were just kidding. You got us.
I'm going to have you arrested.
Damn it.
I'm going to have you arrested.
And then to threaten prosecution. for something that they're doing that's legal. Ladies and gentlemen, you're like, why are we talking about California this whole segment? We know you live there and you guys suck, but there's the rest of the country. But understand, this is the magnifying glass of the left throughout the country. They do it here the worst.
Folks, use California as a cautionary tale. We are the canary in the coal mine. As my mother-in-law once said before she passed away, she said, some people are on this planet as an example of what the fuck not to do.
No, it is a cautionary tale. It is telling the rest of the country to wear a rubber. Sometimes 49 is okay.
Now, the big
you don't need the 50th.
Which company is big enough to put a rubber condom over the state of California?
Rubbermaid.
And why do you think I call it Fornicalia?
Fornicalia. I figured we'd get there eventually. I set it up, and we got there.
Thank you, and I went right through it.
You're welcome. Oh, God.
God bless you, bony boy.
We're up against a break.
Are we not?
Hey, when we come back, some big news out of the DOJ's IG office and more. This is kind of a biggie, too.
This is great.
Stick around. We'll be right here back on the Sidekids Radio Show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians, a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless, hope to the hopeless, clues to the clueless. Sackheads Shaun, Sackheads Clint, and Sackheads BZ. The Sackheads Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern on shrmedia.com. Watch on YouTube, Facebook, and the High Plains Pundit Network. The best in late-night conservative talk. The Sackheads Radio Show, only on the SHR Media Network.
Go ahead, I'll say it
again. Some of the best A-roll is going to be evil.
Like, what are you talking about?
Just the last question we really cut in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I'm a freaking artist. I can't just come up with this shit off the top of my head. Are you freaking kidding me right now?
Good point. Exactly right.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint, and I'm with Sackhead Shaun, Sackhead BZ. No communists allowed on the SHR Media Network.
Damn straight, mister.
Back to the show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Can I tell you something
28
bad?
March 2018. Good, BZ.
This is bad.
Okay.
I've actually enjoyed tonight.
Okay.
And Clint's not here. Can I say? I really shouldn't say that. Can I say that? Is it lawful? Is it lawful to say? Or should there be a guidance against it? Maybe a hint against it, a suggestion against it.
Look, there's some nights it's just easier.
You almost... I saw what you did with that.
I couldn't get through it.
I know.
So I want to check in the chat room because I hear your furry little ferret fingers just tapping away over there while we're on break.
We've had a pretty consistent chat room. Dave is still in there. Simone is still in there.
Hi.
One viewer who is masked and will remain masked. So Dave was saying that the only thing concerns me about low population states. I was talking about Idaho. Simone was talking about Idaho, and I was talking about Idaho. And
I thought she was calling you a bitch.
Oh, no.
Forget it.
And Dave responded, the only thing that concerns me about low population states, they get Muslims in there. Muslims breed like cockroaches. Their ideology makes them. And Dave says, yeah, same in Vermont. And I said, here's the coming possible eventual clash. Mexicans on the western U.S., Muslims in the eastern U.S., neither one loves the other. And Simone chimes in and says, ooh, MS-13 versus Allah.
Yeah. Well, and then you have LMA in there. You have a lot of other groups that would start fighting.
LS, MFT.
Yes. Norteños, Southerners, you name it. It would get ugly.
Pretty well armed.
Yeah. And then you get to the Haitian gangs on the East Coast. It'd be totally out of control. Well, I appreciate our chat room very much. We love everyone who joins us at SHRmedia.
That's right.
.com. God. So the IG for the DOJ came out today and said they were going to probe FISA, the FBI, and the DOJ. After numerous complaints made by the president and other people on the right, the Inspector General's Office for the Department of Justice has launched numerous investigations into the goings-on from those agencies over the last, 8.5, 9 years now.
Here's something kind of interesting. We all know that the Mueller investigation has been going on for quite some time. And people are saying that a couple of senators have said that Sessions should pull the trigger on another special counsel to investigate Comey, Mueller, the FBI, etc. And while that was going on, we all know, now it's not out yet, unless you've heard something about it that I have not, but the Inspector General, and I can't think of the guy's name on the other hand, although I just saw him on television tonight, he will be coming out with a report shortly about the DOJ and a number of other aspects that a lot of people have heralded it and said that this is going to potentially blow some doors off where doors were not suspected to be blown. And just
insert filthy joke.
Just that thought itself has a lot of people worried. But there are you have to realize there are a whole bunch of investigations that are going on concurrently. Some we know about, many of them we don't.
Right.
So the IG is about to release a report on something not this, but now we find out today the Inspector General is investigating specifically now FBI abuses of the FISA court in the Trump campaign surveillance. And let's see, they're investigating whether the FBI overstepped its bounds when it conducted secret surveillance of a Trump campaign
I'll play the
figure.
part of Clint here. Yes.
In 2016 and 2017, and whether the FBI bungled its handling of the anti-Trump Steele dossier.
Yes.
So, and I've always said this. We've had indictments against Manafort, against Flynn, and 2 other guys whose names escape me because they're really not important at all. But the original subject of the FISA
Joey
warrant
Bag of Donuts
was
and,
Carter Page.
Yes.
And despite all of the investigations by Mueller et al., whose attorneys working for him are all registered Democrats and have contributed to the Democrat Party, so we know that's incredibly fair. So despite almost 2 years of investigations by Mueller, a special counsel appointed by Jeff Sessions because he figured he had to recuse himself, is the original focus of this investigation what's happened with Carter Page? And the answer is?
Nothing.
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 That's a bag of donuts.
Because we all know that the information they were using to get to Carter Page, i.e. get to the president, in my humblest of opinion, was bullshit and manufactured. So how could anything come from it? Carter Page was never a target. Donald Trump was the target.
No, that was the proverbial
These were all minions.
fishing expedition.
Look, I always bring this back to Petraeus and how the left handled Petraeus. It was just after Benghazi. I think Petraeus was going to say something, and they sliced his Achilles heel. They got him where they knew they had him, and they knew they had him there whenever they needed it, which is why he was appointed. He's got a side piece. He talks to her about work. Uh-oh. He's going to come out with some Benghazi shit? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they pull out their governmental karambit and decide that they're going to literally slice his Achilles tendon and let the poor bastard good luck walking from now on.
Knowing that he can't fight back from that, I equate what they did to Petraeus and what they're doing to Carter Page and all these guys. This is the analogy I always use. Look, you're sitting in a bar all by yourself, middle of the afternoon, 5 p.m. in New York. It's kind of packed. You're sitting down the end just having a beer after work, mind your own business, right? Some guy walks in. You don't know him. He doesn't know you. It doesn't matter. Points to you down the end of the bar, says, hey, that guy down there drinking the beer with the hat on. And you look, and everybody looks at you. He's a pedophile, and walks out. What do you think the reaction's going to be? Everyone's going to go, that guy claiming the pedophilia thing, he's a bullshit artist. Or are they all going to look at you and say, you better get out of here, motherfucker? That's what they did to Petraeus. That's exactly what they did. No matter what he said, there was no defense, and they knew it. And they did the same thing to all of these guys because the apple in their eye, the pie in the sky, no matter what, stems back to why all these FISA court bullshit, the Steele dossier, and all these other things existed. Because they feared him and they want him gone. I'm talking about Trump. So they will manufacture anything they fucking can.
I've said this for a while because, you point out what that really is proving a negative.
Right.
Okay. Somebody walks into a meeting that you're having about the baseball team for your kids, and somebody walks in and they're pissed. They're really pissed. And they point directly at you again, and they say, I found out that you put my son in the hospital in a coma in 1983 when your car hit my son, and I just found out about it.
Nothing you can do.
And so, okay, prove you didn't.
Right.
And then everybody starts looking at you, wondering what the hell is going on.
It doesn't matter at that point. The damage is done. Carter Page, all those guys, the damage is done. And they will step on them as much as they human... Herman Cain. I go back to Herman Cain. What they did to Herman Cain, that was a pile of bullshit.
Yep.
But
what an example.
And they're trying to use that same tactic on Trump right now with Stormy Daniels, who, by the way, got arrested for domestic battery when she was running for state senator, I think it was for Louisiana, for beating the shit out of her husband because she didn't like the way he did laundry.
What is it?
How very Hillary Clinton-like.
What does it say when...
But that's what they do.
When Whoopi Goldberg on The View regarding the Stormy scandal, Stormy scandals, Stormy Daniels, Stormy Williams, whatever the hell Stormy Big Tits is, the thing that was revealed past Sunday with Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes, when Whoopi Goldberg on The View says, is anyone besides me wondering what just really happened?
Right.
What are we finding? How come we're discovering that there really isn't much here?
Because there's nothing much
because
there.
there really isn't much here, and the reason that it didn't get the massive traction that all the leftists expected is because most of the people in 2016 already knew about that, like myself, like you.
Right.
And if I didn't give a fuck about it then,
right,
what makes anyone think I'm going to give a fuck about it now?
Well, and
considering Juanita Broderick is already and has said for years, Bill Clinton's a rapist.
Yep. And everyone's ignored
And
it.
Paula Jones has said, Bill Clinton pulled out his weenus on me.
Yeah, and it's factual that it happened with what's-her-face. Can't think of her name. The intern.
Oh, Monica Lewinsky.
Monica. Right.
Yeah, and you want to talk about money? Paula Jones got paid off.
They all did. They all got money except for Monica.
So
Monica got fame.
Let's see.
They did everything they could to keep Paula Jones from getting fame.
Consensual between Paula Jones and Willie? No. Consensual between Juanita and Willie? No. Potentially?
Partially, mostly, somewhat?
Completely consensual between Stormy and Donald and
If it
Donnie,
happened?
if it happened?
Yes.
Well, yes.
Yep.
When asked, did he wear a condom? No. Did you tell him to? No. Did you tell him that you didn't want to have sex? No. Was it consensual? Yes.
What's the problem? It's between he and his wife, and I understand that. I'm not saying it's not a problem for him in his personal life, but as his job as president, bah.
If he and Melania are throwing pots and pans at each other because of it,
i.e. the Clintons,
I don't care.
i.e. the Clintons.
I really don't care.
And I like to remind everybody, before he was even president, there was domestic violence calls to the governors, Manson and Arkansas, because of his philandering.
Hell yeah.
And Hillary found out. And she wasn't mad that he was cheating on her as her husband. We all know this. I think she was mad because it could hurt her politically, could hurt him politically.
Oh, yeah.
And they were moving on up at that time.
Oh, yeah.
To the east side, where she eventually
To
became
that
senator.
Big sky, something in the sky. That big apartment in the sky. Moving on up to the east side.
To the deluxe apartment.
Deluxe apartment in the sky. That's it. Republicans said last week, and they revealed that the dossier played a significant role in getting the secretive Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court to approve wiretaps of Carter Page, a foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign. Here we go. This is his name. Inspector General Michael Horowitz.
Who everybody will know this name by next week.
Very soon.
Right now, we're all like, what the hell was this guy? Who is...
Did not identify Mr. Page or Christopher Steele, the former British spy who was paid by Democrats to assemble the salacious and unverified dossier on Donald Trump. But Mr. Horowitz left little doubt that is what he will be investigating. The quote, in response to requests from the Attorney General and members of Congress, the Office of the Inspector General will initiate a review that will examine the Justice Department's and the Federal Bureau of Investigation's compliance with legal requirements and with applicable DOJ and FBI policies and procedures in applications filed with the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court relating to a certain U.S. person, Mr. Horowitz said in a statement. Bing! That's called a clue.
Look, God. Here's the thing. We talked about the IG last week, and I said that they got to find a way to use IG investigations and turn it into something with teeth. We had this whole argument, I think it was last week or the week before, about how IGs don't really bring a lot to the table as far as punishment, but investigatory, yes.
They don't have the capacity for subpoena for people that are out of government service.
Right.
Like Comey, Holder, Lynch, blah, blah, blah. You know all the usual suspects.
Right. But can the DOJ Sessions now turn around and use that evidence in good faith and open a grand jury?
Not impossible, but we got about 10 more minutes before we go, and I want to make sure that we get this story in before we go. I'm submitting the tide may be turning.
The Tide Pods?
Yeah. This story just came out today. as well.
By the way, those who were eating Tide Pods last year are now the gun experts in this country this year. It's brilliant. But go ahead.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, I mean, if I was thinking of an argument, that's an historical way to make all sorts of verifiable and really good arguments when you have a background like that. The headline is FBI agent. Maybe it's starting to turn. FBI agent charged with leaking classified documents
on a tree
to media.
Oh, I thought they were peeing.
Nope.
Go
this
on.
This just came out. The Justice Department has filed charges against a former FBI agent, accusing him of leaking classified documents to a news outlet.
So,
does that sound like someone we already know? A guy named Terry Albury.
Oh.
Whom Minnesota Public Radio reported worked on counterterrorism matters at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport.
The cuffs go around the Albury bush. The Albury bush.
Ooh, that's nice.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Thank
that's
you.
Very nice. It stands accused of two counts, knowingly and willfully transmitting national defense information to The Intercept.
Good.
And refusing to hand over a document related to terrorism recruitment. According to the Star Tribune, officials filed a 2-page felony information document, which the paper described as a charging document that typically signals an imminent guilty plea.
Yes, there's no fighting on this.
The documents Mr. Albury is accused of giving to The Intercept assessed confidential human sources and concerned, quote, threats posed by certain individuals from a particular Middle East country.
Now, let's say they nail him on this one. He pleads guilty. You now naturally have to widen the scope of that investigation, wouldn't you?
Yeah, see, maybe now it's time to Muellerize
Mueller.
that stuff, because you can do with this guy what Mueller's trying to do some other people. Now, immediately, Sir Shaun.
Yes, sir.
3 individuals came to my mind as to why we're going after this guy and not, and here come the names, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, James Comey. Come on out to the stage.
And what's his face?
Comey.
Who just got hemmed? Who just lost his retirement? What's his face there? A couple weeks ago, McCabe. You got to add him to that list too, right off.
See, this is coming. The tsunami is growing.
So
it's building.
Those who know anything about law,
by bit.
This guy's out of office, right? You said that. He's no longer an FBI agent.
No longer.
And now they're going after prosecution. Why? To see if it sticks legally. If you know about law, you know, especially if it's something that doesn't get charged too often or recently, you have to have a couple test cases out there. You gotta dip the toe in the water and see if judges are going to bite on it.
You work a case. You work it. You work it.
Right. But you also have to have that legal precedence, right? So if you're going to go prosecute, say you are going to go after Comey, McCabe, Strzok, and Page, you have to have some sort of good foundation to build your case off of. You get an automatic guilty plea. This guy says, yeah, you got me dead to rights. There's no argument. There's nothing I can do for disseminating this information that was classified to a media outlet. You now go, we got one. Let's find a few more. We know they're out there. Go get a few more. And if they stick, then we can start opening it up to the fish that we're actually trying. You're essentially chumming the water. But before you throw out that big bait to hook those big fish, you got to make sure those little feeder fish are swimming around. This guy's a feeder fish. Don't get me wrong, he's a scumbag for doing it. Terrible scumbag for doing it. You're trusted with national secrets, top secret information, and you're going to give it to the press like it's nothing. You're a scumbag. I think you're an asshole. Unless you're doing it to save American lives, like in order to be like, hey, we should investigate this terrorism cell, and somebody goes, no, in the interest of fairness, we don't want to do that. And it's like, hey, yeah, people are going to die if I don't do this. We'll have that Snowden-esque conversation. This guy is just an asshole. He sullied his badge, it sounds like. And if he's pleading guilty, he did sully his badge. But he's a feeder fish.
Comey did.
And I absolutely believe Comey did. I 100% believe Comey did.
And then,
but you have the precedent set by this case. If you're going to prosecute, you have the precedent set by this and a few more cases. Now it's a clear shot. And if you get Comey, who's right there?
Well, what do you do? What do you do in cases like this? It's a triangle.
Hold on. If you nail Comey's ass to a wall, it now opens up every investigation that he was a part of or supervised, right? If you get him on the FISA,
with me, you bet.
You get him on the FISA investigation. You get him on the information news sources. You have his ass nailed to the wall. You're going to open every single case he's ever been involved in. What's the biggest one that we cried in this country? There's 2 cases that I can think of that need to be reopened, but this one directly to Comey. Hillary Clinton, the server, right?
See, here's...
You have to.
What I meant by the triangle is eventually, when you start at the bottom, you work up. You don't work down.
Right.
So what do you do when you have a firm foundation? You go up. What do we know about emails? What do we know about one of the reasons that Obama was essentially covering, not essentially, he was covering for Hillary Clinton because he didn't want his link, his nexus to Hillary Clinton made known.
Right.
And you still can't convince me that some of this, at least, Shaun, doesn't go back to Benghazi and 4 dead Americans.
A lot of this goes back to Benghazi.
That so many of us seem so quick to just forget about.
Look, I think, and I've said this before, I think if you dive deep into Benghazi, if you open up Benghazi and get all the way into it, and you really break down what happened, the cover-up afterwards, and everything that we know to be true so far, if all those CIA employees can all of a sudden testify about what was going on there, what they heard, the guy known in the book and on the movie as Bob, the station chief,
right,
who got an award, if you find out what he knows, and then all of a sudden you can start to unravel that sweater. And the sweater needs to get unraveled. I think Benghazi is key, and I've said this before, to absolutely
firmly in that camp. You bet.
Absolutely taking down everything wrong with the Obama administration, including, I've said before and I said again, Valerie Jarrett's involvement. I think that she had way influence, and I think that she probably made some decisions that were made from her directly that should have been not in her realm legally.
Creepy Central.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the fact that she's the weird mother-in-law living in the house with him.
Why is Valerie Jarrett living in the Washington, D.C. house of the Obamas?
And if you're Michelle, you gotta be
the fuck?
You gotta be confused, right?
The first thing
I know. Okay, so everyone making the joke about Michelle being confused. I'm talking about Valerie Jarrett specifically. Have your own discussion later. Because I know they're going out there. But yeah, you have the wicked mother-in-law moving in willingly into your retirement home. So,
willingly, it's just, okay, Shaun.
Look, if Bill had Monica move in afterwards, you're like, all right, it's not right, but I can understand why the guy's getting tail. Fine.
Shaun, let's say you're married.
If Biden moved in with Obama, I would understand that more, right? That's his buddy. They're cool. Like, he wants to be the cool roommate. I totally get that shit. I'm not saying they're both whack jobs, but I totally get that shit.
This is how weird, how creepy that is. Shaun, you're married. You leave a job. You start work at another job, but you had a working relationship with this chick named Valerie. And you're living with your wife in a house, and you leave that job to take another job, which makes more money. But when you leave your former job, you say to your wife,
"Come on in.
Say, I have this really good friend that I worked well with at my prior job. Can she come live with us?"
Please. She'll just be in an in-law apartment out back. And then if you
what the hell?
And then you flip it around too, right? You have Valerie.
God.
Here's why, and I don't know this for sure, but this could very well be a reason. What does she naturally inherit when she lives on the Obama grounds? The Secret Service protection. I don't know what advisors get after they leave the White House for protection.
I don't know either.
But
I would expect not Secret Service
protection. Right. Other than
Because-
private bodyguards.
Yeah. And she could buy those.
Right. But if she's living on the private grounds, she's automatically inheriting that Secret Service protection. And if for some reason she has a reason to fear some sort of retribution, if you're her, it might make sense. But I'm the person who goes the other way, right? I'm like, she has all this money, wealth, and influence. Why would she want to live in the in-law apartment? That's freaking weird.
What happened? This is a visual. What happens every Saturday night after all three of them sit on the sofa
Popcorn.
and watch a movie having popcorn,
Right.
and then all three of them go upstairs?
I don't. I don't think it's that at all. I think Barack and Valerie Jarrett sit on the couch together, and Michelle's in the other room. Or maybe Michelle and I don't know. I'm not there, right? You'd have to ask the Secret Service agents.
Oh, God.
Either way,
one of them has a clit pump. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Either
I
way,
can't get this visual out of my head.
It's the strangest friggin' living. It's like the weirdest Three's Company ever.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
All you need is Mr. Furley, and you'd be good to go.
And a guy in a sweater.
Yeah, and you're good to go. Obama's Jack Tripper, which is actually more appropriate than you might think. Mom jeans, the bicycle thing, unable to shoot a gun. Yeah, he could play up that gay card. I'm just saying.
Have we gone enough weird places tonight?
No, luckily it's coming to an end.
Oh my God!
Come
I've
and
had a
knock on
great
our
time.
door. We've been waiting for you. Where the kisses are hers and his. Three's Company too. Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-bum.
I've had a grand time.
I as well, sir. We'll be back next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, right here on the SHR Media Network. Make sure you check out all the great shows here on the SHR Media Network. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, right in the slot, the bloviating Zeppelin BZ, large and in charge. We will let him have the keys to the studio. We warned him about caging the monkeys when he's done.
That's right.
We'll see you next week, folks. Have a
No
great...
monkey spanking, remember.
If you're letting them out, you're spanking them.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the unpleasant blind guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians, a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless, hope to the hopeless, clues to the clueless. Sackheads Shaun, Sackheads Clint, and Sackheads BZ. The Sackheads Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern on shrmedia.com. Watch on YouTube, Facebook, and the High Plains Pundit Network. The best in late-night conservative talk, the Sackheads Radio Show, only on the SHR Media Network.
Go ahead, I'll say it.
Some of the best A-roll is going to be evil.
Like, what are you talking about?
Just like the last question that you're going to cut in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I'm a freaking artist. I can't just come up with this shit off the top of my head. Are you freaking kidding me right now?
Good point. Exactly right.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint, and with Sackhead Shaun, Sackhead BZ. No communists allowed on the SHR Media Network.
Damn straight, mister.
Back to the show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.